Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're looking at another Hail Caesar epic battle series from the Punic Wars. I'm going to show you how to paint the Principes Roman Infantry. They're looking like this when they're put together on kind of glued together, but of course they're not glued because we're going to take them apart, and we're simply going to take them apart one piece at a time, leaving them into three parts. I've already primed these miniatures using a Vallejo white primer, and I've also taken the opportunity to actually put some German grey on any metal parts, such as their chainmail, helmets and spear tips, as well as any swords they might be holding in their hands. So that's to make sure that it's a little bit easier for us to paint them. And as just to show you from last time, if you follow my series, this is what the Hastati Roman infantry looks when they're all ready and have them on the base, so to say. This is a small printout. This is what the base set looks like. I don't have the base set. I just have a few models that Warlord Games gave to me during Essenspiel 2024. So thank you very much for that to Warlord Games. And also a big thank you to all of you who are subscribing to my channel. So once you're at it, please put please press the subscribe button and press like and share this video if you like them as well. Thank you all so much for that. So we are going to go through this in some easy stages, and to make things easier, I'm going to simply paint things at section by section. So if I paint metal, I will try to paint all the metal parts at the same time, unless it's a different color, of course. Now, with that said, I'm also going to try to do this fairly quickly, but it's still, we're looking at least half an hour. So I'm going to try to do my best in this regard as well. So since I don't have the models per se here in terms of pictures and reference models, I'm taking an historical correctness approach to this one, trying to paint these as they most likely would have looked like during the Republic days. So with that said, I'm going to start by putting this one on my painting handle from Warlord Games. This is a really good painting handle, and it's really make sure that you can actually hold the model while you're painting. Looks like this. It's ergonomically formed, and there is a review on the channel. Please see the link in the description below. So if you want to take a look at this one. So when it comes to the shields, we are going to paint these ones using a Citadel color contrast series called Nazdreg Yellow. We're going to give it a good shake. I picked this one up at my local store called Geek Shelter. So you're located in Haifa or Tel Aviv in Israel. You can easily go to them and you can actually pick up any range of Citadel models, Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and so on as well. So we're going to open this paint pot here. See here, and we're going to put this one on neat on the we're going to put them neat on the shields, so to say. So I'm going to put them on like this, and it has kind of like a nice yellow tint here. I'm not too fuzzy if I get it on, so I can actually do the entire lower section like this. I'm not too fussy if I actually get it on top of the metal parts here on the shields, because I will paint it over anyways. But it has a nice yellow tint to it that I like. Using a fairly large brush for this. Most of you think that, some of you might think that Roman shields were all red, and they're not. They had different color schemes, but most of them used a scutum shield, which is kind of like this large rectangular shield, as you see here. If you want to make sure that if you want this one to actually be a little bit more detailed, you can of course paint them section by section and get them with all the nice metal things in the end. It can be a bit tricky to get to. So, oops, this is also metallic, so I have to put this one away because it's magnetized in the bottom. So also this one here, I'm going to paint the top here as well. Can be a bit tricky to get to otherwise. and otherwise you will get this kind of like white showing, and it's not really nice. Also make sure that you paint the side of the shield over here as well, the sides, leaving nothing here, or none of the white showing as such. Now when this one is done, we're going to paint any other shield that we can find to make sure that they're all done. And most likely you will see it here on the side here. You'll see the side of the shield here, and painting all the side parts of the shield with this color, as well as once you're at it, you can make sure that you get all the tops as well. I have someone working outside my apartment block with a chainsaw, so if you hear any noise, it might be that one, so I apologize for the noise. And of course you've got the side of the shield here as well. So with this one done, I'm going to put it aside and paint the last shielding part here as well, the top shields, as well as the shield here in the side here, and on the other side too. And if you feel that you got too much on your shield, use a damp brush and move it up where you want it. Hopefully you can see. Just want to show you what it looks like. And I'm just gonna angle the miniature here as such to make sure that I get all the nice details. And contrast paint is a phenomenal way to paint this one. If you haven't got a contrast paint, I recommend it painting a little bit of brown and then tinting it with yellow as such. This one got a little bit too much, so it does this one. So I'm going to move it around a little bit. Leaving this one aside, make sure that they try to stand up and not lie on top of something else. So I'm going to put this one aside as such. Oh, they really don't want to stand here. So here, as such as this one here. For this one, for the next part, we're going to go through and paint. We're going to paint the chainmail parts, and the chainmail parts is a big part of this video. Because the Roman Principes were wealthy Roman citizens who had not just the opportunity but also could afford their own armor. So they, of course, they wanted chainmail, which was the best at the time. So we are going to paint this one with some gunmetal from Vallejo. You can, if you want to, definitely go for something like lead belcher. If you have it in terms of the Citadel range, that's perfectly fine as well. Or you can go for oily steel or something like that in terms of like other paint ranges. So we're going to put this one out on my wet palette over here that we're using for this this line of painting. And I'm going to switch to a smaller brush this time. We're going to switch to a size 0 from the Winsor & Newton Cotman series, and we're going to try to put it on quite section by section. So in this case, I'm going to go for the chainmail here on top. I'm taking care not to touch the helmets, because the helmets are going to be bronze. And if I do miss on something, that's why the reason why I color these in a German grey from Vallejo before. If I miss out on a part, it's not the end of the world, because it can act as a shadow in between, so it's quite nice. These are also, I'm not too fussy about these miniatures here, because in this line, because they are also in the middle of the front rankers, but the back is not going to be seen as much because they are they're going to be glued together. So as such, I'm going to show them up to you here, looking like this. Let's see if I can angle the light here. Hopefully you can see this. And it doesn't have to be perfect. The German grey does a phenomenal job of giving it a nice base. But I will actually paint the swords. And there are swords tips here, leaning up here on the side. So I will try to get those swords painted as well. These Roman soldiers were armed with a spear, or javelin actually, and a nice gladius as well. So make sure that you get the sword tips. They really add a nice level of detail. Once I also have them here, I'm also going to paint the spear tips. That's why I also painted them out here before. So once I already have that one, I try to paint things in batches. I'm using the same color for everything of the same batch. This is the front of the spear tips. Now we'll go to the back of the spear tips. And we have the spear tips and the swords and the chainmail on this section here all done. Now we're going for the other thing here as well, same section here as well, chainmail and possible swords or spears. So we will start with the chainmail. You can paint them in batches as well, move them around as such. Because they are a middle section, they are not going to be shown as much. The only thing that will be shown is the end of the guy. The guy at the end of the line will have, which will have a little bit of detail. So you will actually take great care to actually cover not all of his other parts, especially his hand and arm series here, and the other side on the other angles, on the other side line as well. Okay. And if you see that you've missed a spot, you angle the miniature, make sure that you move on and you can see everything has been covered. Chainmail, also known as lorica hamata in Latin. Now I'm angling these to painting the spear tips. So lorica hamata was used all the way up until the end of the Roman Empire, actually. This is the Republican days, so we are looking at something before the Christian era, before Christ. And chainmail was very, very protective, and you can see how popular it was because it continued being used up into the Middle Ages. Now, I'm a reenactor. I used to have my own chainmail armor till I sold it because I needed the money. Chainmail was expensive back in the day as well, and a good chainmail set would be more than a fortune for many people, which is why, for example, the poorer classes of infantry could not afford one. Okay, doesn't really want to stand here, so we're going to leave it up. Now we're going to go over to paint the large section of chainmail, which is of course those on the back rank, and there it's important that you actually no, where do we have them? Yeah, there we go. And here you can really see that you have a lot of chainmail here. So if you want to make it easy for yourselves, you cover only this part and this part and this part, and you take great care not to cover the belt. I will cover the belt here with the black, the German dark grey here by mistake or by laziness, and you actually see there are three sections, 1, 2 and 3. Upper, middle and lower section. So you would take care to actually paint all of these in the lowest and upper, lower and middle section as well. And actually, if you do actually take great care, it's actually not that difficult. Using a small brush and take your time moving the chainmail, painting each section by section here as I do here. And if you paint it section by section, they will have time to dry, And the German grey makes an excellent, as I said, option. If you miss out a part, it's grey and will blend in splendidly with the gunmetal. So here I'm going over the lower section here. And then I'm switching to the upper section, leaving the middle section in between. I'm taking great care not to touch these parts here because they're going to be showing with another color for the tunic. Painting the upper section. And if you're using lead belcher, it's going to be the same effect anyways. And now the middle section. The German dark grey also adds a darker, grimier look on them as well. And now going up for the top sections here as well, going over any details that you might have missed. Then going over the spear tips. Oops, falling a little bit, so adjusting it carefully. Spear tips are not really showing on this miniatures, but I will point those out. They're actually showing. Because in the end, any nice detail that you can get your hands on is actually quite nice. So with this one done, I'm then going to go over and paint the helmets on everything. Helmets is going to be useful for on all three lines, so we can already keep this one on the model, and we're going to use bronze for this one. Bronze is you have two options here. You can use Vallejo's bronze color, or you can use another option, which is, let's see if I can get it on the camera. Yeah, you can also use Retribute armor from Citadel. Those are two options here for you. I'm going to use bronze here because I like the wording of the color, because it is bronze actually in the Roman days as well. There were bronze helmets, and it can be a little bit tricky making sure that you actually don't paint the faces and everything. So first you paint the section on the front with everything. Front, and then when you're done with the front, you turn it around and you go for the back. Back and sides. Or actually, in my case, I would go only for the back and I would switch to the sides later on. When you paint models like these in batches, it is, as I said, a good idea to actually keep it on a batch level. It means that you're not going to bring these models to win any competitions or anything, but you will make them look at least fairly decent on the table. And then when these ones are done, you can already see, I will zoom in a bit, that these ones are actually looking quite nice. I will angle the miniature here, making sure that I get all the nice batches on the helmets. Now I'm going to zoom in for you. This is what they look like with the bronze helmets done. Bronze helmets like this. I'm then going to go over and paint all the bronze helmets on the other figures as well. And that's going to be only the bronze parts on these miniatures. You can, of course, paint the shield buckles in bronze as well. Since the bronze is a fairly kind of like, it blends in with yellow quite well. Down here I'm angling the miniature and painting the sides of the bronze helmets as such. So it will blend on, so I will actually paint them silver on or metal on the for the shield buckles. Turning around. And of course, I believe the helmet's parts is really important to paint, so try to take great care to actually get it done, because they will actually shine on the battlefield when it comes to getting it right. So that's why I'm going over them, giving them an extra layer when needed. So this one is done. Oops, I fall again. And again for the last batch. The back section first. And any side you can get your hand on, of course. And then of course going to the front, and here you can already see, hopefully you can, what I mean here by adding details in sections, and now the bronze shields are already looking quite good. Not bronze shields, the rectangular wooden shields. And a little bit of a history lesson. Rome fought several wars in the early days. The biggest competitor then was Carthage, and Carthage was led by Hannibal, who defeated the Romans several times. But then the Romans managed to turn the tide of the war and bring the war to Carthage and conquer Carthage eventually, led by their legendary general called Scipio Africanus. And he defeated Cannibal at the Battle of Zama, and you have the chance to actually field this battle, field this army while you are building, after you build these miniatures, and fight either as Hannibal or as Scipio Africanus. And the Principes were actually, I'm going to tell these about in the next section here. And now when I've done all these bronze parts, now it's time to go for all the skin details. So for skin details, I'm going to go for Crusader skin by Armor Painter. It's a speed paint. You can go for the traditional approach of, painting it with Kistler flesh or Cadian flesh tone or any flesh tone from Citadel if you want. But I'm going to go for a little bit of speed here. So in this case, I'm going to go and dab them in here as such. Get the faces done, and if it's too much, I use a damp brush and move it around. Since the miniatures here are fairly small scale, I'm also going to turn it around here and paint any section on the back here in this manner. You can also paint these ones in a brown or black to give it a bit of a hair color if you want to. Because they're going to be glued together, is not really going to show that much anyways. As such, we're moving this one aside, hopefully it will stand up. Moving on to the same section over here. one batch as such. If you manage to get it a little bit on the helmet, it's not the end of the world. Again, if there's anything in the back, you can put it on if you want to, if you want a little bit of an extra detail. I'm doing it now so you can see how it's done. And with this one also, because the skin detail, I'm going to leave a little bit of hands here showing. And I will also do that, going back now, and do that, oops. And on any hands details here showing, these are skin details. Holding up the swords, or actually spears in this case. Doesn't show that much, but in the end it will, when you put them together, and you will see all the details. You'll see no white parts from the primer. You will actually see that it's actually some kind of detail, and I like that. So the Principes was the mainstay of the Roman army, a Roman Republican army at the time. And they numbered around 1,200 men for each legion. And also for these ones here, now I'm also going to go down and paint all the skin details down over here. And then I'm switching to a larger brush. And I'm going to paint the entire section over here as skin details. Dabbing it around as such. It's not highly detailed. We can work on the details with sandals and skins afterwards. Just let it soak in there in the recesses. And if it's too much, you know, just use a damp brush and move it around. If you get a little bit on the chainmail, move it around. You can also use some extra gunmetal to then clean it up. As such. It's a very lazy approach to this one, but since there's a batch sized, it can actually work quite well. Alright, as such, we have these ones. Let's see here if we have any others. Yes, we do actually have this one we went through, and also this one here actually has a little bit of skin details, as well as this one here. And then of course we're going back over to these ones who have not had any skin details at all. We'll see if there's any details here on the sides. Yes, there are some sides here, as well as this one here. As well as here on the skin here. There's a little bit of skin there. And you can use a larger brush for the faces here if you like. If you have the brush control, I hope I do today with you. Going around like this. The number 1,200 per legion were the backstay of the Roman army at the time. These ones fought in the second line, actually the third line. Velitas were at first the skirmishers, not really a line. Then you had the Hastati, which I painted previously. It's going to be linked in the description box here below, or they will be on the screen. Take a look at this one if you want to paint it. And then after the Hastati, then they came the Principes, and finally we actually had the what we called as the, on the back as well here, the Triari, the heavily armed veterans that we're going to paint another time as well. There will be a video for this one, I guarantee you that. I already prepped them for painting. And as such, and we're done with these ones. Okay, so now when these ones are done, we're now going to move on to the next section, which is going to be wooden spears, wooden spears and sandals. So wooden spears, first of all, we're going to go over and paint these ones with flat earth from Vallejo. Give it a good shake, placing it out on our palette. As such, switching to a smaller brush for more brush control, because this is a little bit of fiddly work, but it's really nice when you get it done. So you actually paint these spears here on the side. And on the side here as well. Have each spear showing here quite nicely. You can use contrast wildwood for this as well if you want to. I might use contrast wildwood later on for some more details. Contrast wildwood is a wooden colour from Vallejo's contrast range, and it's also good to, because we use so much here. Here I'm just adding a little bit of hair colour. Here we have some spears showing in the back. Got a little bit of dirt here on the chainmail, that's fine as well. We're moving over and paint the spears on the others as well, making sure everyone get their spears painted and they're all happy. Yeah, it's showing on the side here, it's showing most of all. Using the side of my brush here to do this. And adding more paint on my brush as needed. Okay, done with this batch, and then we'll see here what the next one here comes into. Yes, we have a little bit next one with these ones. And thank you very much for watching this video so far. I'm really pleased with this, that you're watching, and also giving comments. Thank you for those of you who gave comments in the starter video. I really appreciate that. It adds some interaction, and it's good for the YouTube algorithm as well as for me as well. So thank you all of those who did this as well. I appreciate it. Okay, as such, now we're going to go over and paint tunics. Tunics are important, mainly for the back side here as well. Give a little bit of color variation, and for the color variation here I've chosen to use a different kind called Contrast Plaguebearer Flesh Green. You could use something just called white on this one, but I want to show a little bit more color, and green was a color that they actually did use, and you can also see that on the Warlord Games website for the inspirational pictures. So here, just going to add a little bit of this color here on the tunic, not too much. If you want to clean it up and paint a little bit of white over it, you can do so as well. That's perfectly fine. You can leave this one aside. Oh, they're standing, fantastic. I'm going to put this one, the putty, up a little bit so I can actually attach it. Here you actually have it on the side. And not much on that side, so it's only that one. And then we have this one here, and we've got one here on the side here, as well as a little bit here on the side here too, on, yes, tunic here on the side. Do this one here. Adds a little bit more color variation, I like that. So that's the tunics part. much less tunics than the Hastati infantry. I'll give you the difference in terms of like, no, sorry. We have this one for chainmail in the back, and we have this on with tunics on the back. You can see the difference in armor variation here. We've got some small things left. We've got sandals left, we've got belts left, we've got plumes left, and we've got belt buckles. No, not belt buckles, we have, oh, and there's a little bit of mist here, in terms of, there you go, you can always miss things, it's good to correct on the way. And we've got the shield buckles. I think it's called buckles. Again, I was talking about this one just a while ago. So let's go over and paint the shield buckles. Can be a little bit of a tricky to get to. Using a small brush will help. And here I'm choosing to use 1, 2, using the side of the brush to reach the upper sections and the lower section at the same time. First the upper section, then the lower section. First the upper section, and then the lower section, as such. This gives a nice variation of... Oops, it's falling apart. We'll have to fix the putty again. May have to get new putty on it soon. There we go. But it's much better than just holding it by your hand. 1, 2, 1, 2. Might need 2 layers in this. 1, 2. And then we have the middle section here. Starting out from the middle and painting yourself out. Doesn't have to be perfect. By not using a dry brush or highlight finishing here, it gives the shields here a kind of like rough look, and I like that. Kind of like to give them a little bit of a battle-worn look. And that's the point here as well. For those of you who want to do a dry brush, I can recommend using a dry brush of XCB88 over the shields. It gives them a little bit more a nicer look, so to say. So once we've done these ones, we're going to go over and paint the side of the shields here as well. Like here, as well as here. As well as here on the side. As well as here, and a little bit in the middle here. Not much showing, but it is a nice touch. So this one's done. We are now going to paint the... no. Ah, there you go. Yeah, you can do these ones as well. The belts, and this one's for the belts. We are going to use XV88 if I can find it, or Steel Legion Drab. Steel Legion Drab is also an option. Steel Legion Drab for these ones, and it's nice that it has Legion in it, and we're using it neat. And you can also use these ones for the sandals in the bottom. And going over to the other side, just a little bit on the belt and a little bit here on the sandals. Putting this one aside. Going over to the main batch here, where it will really show. So sandals in the bottom, you can start with these ones. Just dab some paints around here. It doesn't have to look perfect. Just that it won't be just all skin color will really help. And then now we'll go for the belts. And now it's time to be a little bit more careful. As such. All right, looking quite okay already. Let's see if there's anything that needs to be fixed as the last parts. Yep, we have one batch here. Sandals at the bottom, sandals in the bottom, one belt, and one belt on the other side. With this one done, we're looking quite okay. And we are then going to go for the plumes. Your plumes, you can leave them white, or you can put them as black as well. But since they are fairly dark already, I'm going to actually paint them white. So I'm going to go for my go-to color when it comes to white, Vallejo either white, or you can use something like Vallejo grey white, which is also an option. Let me see if I have grey white here for you. Probably not. That's not available at the moment. Maybe I found it. Yeah, we'll do for Vallejo white grey. Give it a slightly different hint than just pure white. And for this one, of course, I'm closing my paint pot. Taking a larger brush, painting the top parts with these ones before I switch to a smaller brush where I paint the smaller details. Here on the back, I can go on the back here and paint the smaller details. And since you prime them in white, it's actually they're also already looking quite good. And on the side here. And as such, I'll put this one aside. Every one of these actually have plumes, so you will be able to paint all of them. If you want more details, you can actually do some Nuln oil straight on these ones. And then then simply color them or dry brush them with this white grey to give it even more details. I'm not choosing not to do it now, I just want an easy approach for you guys. As such, and then we've got I've already painted these, and then we've got these ones, same thing there. Looking quite okay already. I'm quite pleased with these. And now, before we finish this one, we now go over all the details to think like, okay, where can we fix any mistakes? First thing of all, I'm going to show you one thing that is quite nice to, nice thing to know. What I said before, contrast wildwood. It's a really good paint if you want to fill in mistakes. So as such, I'm going to use contrast wildwood, and I take a fairly large brush, which is not going to be damp, it's going to be dry, and I'm going to put a little bit of paint on it, and I'm going to fill in the details here with these ones, like this, making sure there is no white areas showing on the miniatures in the middle sections. And you can do that in between here as well. as such. And then when this one has left to dry, you will actually see the results of no white details, no spots in between, which is cool, really cool. And this one here, I'm dabbing it in between here. Making sure that it's really, really like nice and smooth. Okay, and as such, I'm putting this one aside again, and then for the last batch, and last batch is also going to get this one in the front here, and this one is also going to simulate the sandals. They're actually peeking out in the end of the bottom of their shields. As well as any earth that might be showing as well. And it's also a good way of actually painting the base here. Got a little bit of paint here. So we're going to fix this one with some color. They got a little bit of dirt there. And here as well, it's very important that you paint this part here that is actually otherwise will show as white. And this color. Using a fairly large brush to dab it in between. Looking much better. And of course, if you see that there's any white showing in between, just use the large brush and fix it as such. Because these are the front ranks, they will show on the field, and then you don't want any white bleeding through. It might be a little bit of a time-consuming process to do these things, but I guarantee you it's going to be looking really good on the battlefield. Now let's fix our mistake. So let's take a look and see if we can find that XV88 that we were looking at previously. So here we have the XV88 from Citadel's color range, giving it a good shake. And now let's see if we can find an old brush that we can use for some dry brushing that is small enough for this kind of thing. So we'll take a very small brush like this, a side brush that it's almost broken in the past. Soak it with paint. Use a little bit of kitchen roll and wipe most of the paint off the brush, leaving only a little bit on the brush to make sure that it's good for dry brushing. So as such, we can do and fix this one here, giving it a little bit of more like in the lower section here. You can do this on all of them, giving them more like a weathered look, giving them a kind of like a weathered appearance of like dirt in the bottom, and I like that. So here I see also that we have some white bleeding through, and we're going to try to fix this one last time before we're done, and we put them together and they're ready for the field. And all right, let's see if we can put them together. We have the front section, we've got the back section, and we've got the middle section. So let's put the middle section in together. I'm not going to glue them, don't worry, because they're still drying from the contrast paint. And then we've got the back section, and we've got them ready like this. Let's see here, can we put them together? Ah, there we go. So this is what they look like. See if we can put them together with this one here. And we'll see here if we can put a little bit of light on them, so like as such. Thank you very much for watching this Hail Caesar's, this Epic Battles Hail Caesar series about the Punic Wars by Warlord Games. And thank you very much for staying with me so long. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video so you won't miss any updates. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time on this series or another series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.